Good morning, everyone. Welcome and well zooming, everyone there, everyone here. Nice to see you all in person. I've been away for over 2 months, and so it's good to be back here in our familiar home and Sangha members here. Thank you for having me here. As usual, we will do the prayers to start up our mind and intention and our attention and our retention of both throughout the meditation. And this will be then followed by a special talk today on the Lamdre that we just attended in Nepal. So join your hands at the heart and we do the refuge for immeasurables of bodhicitta. And Buddha Dhamma Sangha Ajare Vijayalatama Bhavacha Ajevandala Ajare Buddha Vajave and Buddha Dhamma Sangha Ajara Vyja Eladama Bhavacha Ajevandala Ajare Buddha Vajave. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they know powerful happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion, those never. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they know powerful happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion, those never. May all beings happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never from the happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell equanimity, free from attachment and hurt to those near and far. So we'll do calm abiding meditation for the next 30 minutes. I'll use it with various techniques of how to sit and focus. You have a one-point attention to the posture, to the forward counting of qualified round breathing, and then reverse counting of super qualified round breathing. The most important is not just the attention, but intention to do it for the benefit of not me or now or today, for the body, but for others, for future, for my mind stream. With such a retention of attention and intention, the meditation will yield a very good benefit. So I suggest you observe the 4S, stillness of your posture and attention, sincerity of your intention and the motivation, serenity of your actual concentration should be sharp and pristine. Don't just do calm abiding. If you are familiar with the view, try to combine the view as well as calm abiding together. So that's a serenity. It really means not just calmness, but also serene awareness of the clarity of the mind, which is empty, but yet so ever present. In focusing your attention on anything, but that awareness is right at the back. So this, and then the simple technique, not being too rigid, not being too slack, so that we do not dwindle into dullness and drifting into discursive thoughts or boredom or forgetfulness. So with this, we'll sit in 30 minutes of calm, abiding meditation. So please remain in that state. I will try to give a talk today on the reviewing and the overall kind of overview of the recent teachings of Lamdre that was held in Kathmandu. The purpose of this is that at the end of the Lamdre, His Holiness issued this booklet for everyone to take. But English speakers did not have a copy. And I was asked to translate, but I couldn't translate it in such short notice. So if I went through this and explained what went through during those 2 months teachings, this can be transcribed and will slowly become the translation of this booklet. Of course, this is for benefit of both people who were there, because people forget what they received. People say, "Oh, so many happened, I forgot what." and also those people who didn't attend want to know what did happen. The actual program will all put on an ad and people can see, but here His Holiness 42nd His Holiness Kongma Trichin Radhavaj Rinpoche himself put this booklet together for everybody to take, and so it would be good for me to go over this. Firstly, Lamdre, and then secondly, the teaching is Lamdre, place is Tharlam Monastery. So Tharlam Monastery is one of the 4 or 5 or 6, I'm not sure, I lose the count of it, Sakya institutions in Kathmandu Valley. The Tharlam Monastery was built in the early 1980s by the late Deshung Tulku Rinpoche, who started the monastery after living 20 over years in USA, and then he was requested to come back, and he built the monastery just near Bodhanath Stupa, behind Tarik Tulku. He called his monastery Tharlam because that was his home monastery in Sichuan province in Old Tibet. But he unfortunately passed away without being able to finish the monastery because due to his ripe age, he passed away in late 80s. But the monastery was completed in 1993, or so, I think, during which the present Teshung Rinpoche, his reincarnation, was enthroned. He was just a small 5-year-old boy then. And now, after 30 years or so, 31 years, then he's now grown up as one who has finished all the studies in Sakya College and more Tantric College and retreats and what else. So Deshung Rinpoche has grown up very, very promising leader, future leader, as he ought to do. So he requested the Lamdre at Tharlam Monastery. Tharlam Monastery is within walking distance from Bodhanath, has a very beautiful complex, and has got Tharlam Academy for his monks, as well as monastery, as well as a beautiful guest house, and all the amenities there, and his huge compound in the middle. So they put a big couple of marquees in the middle, and maybe 500 people could fit in the main Tharlam monastery, the main big hall. The rest of the 3,500 or 5,000 sometimes, they're all out in the marquee. So it was beautifully set up. So that was the host and host of Lamdre, Tharlam. That's why I call Lamdre 2024 in Tharlam. Tharlam means path to liberation. They indeed hosted this as one which many people managed to embark on that path. A path, because path is Tharlam. Thar is the liberation. So, and Lam is the Lamdre in the path that has with its result. And this teaching was requested by Deshung Trungpa Rinpoche to His Holinesses, and then His Holiness 41st and 42nd, both, the whole family descended and blessed Kathmandu for nearly over 2 months. And Kathmandu became completely changed, I think. There's so many Dharma activities were happening. Along with that, many others. So, Lam means path, and Dre means result. So path with its result. I suppose when you meditate, as we try to do this morning, you are trying to experience the result of being serene, calm, and still and wise. You can experience the bliss, and you can experience the absence of sorrow. You can actually know how not to do sorrow. You can actually feel pity for those who do without knowing how not to do. So we can stay very present. In very half an hour's meditation, we could experience the result of the nectar of the Dharma. When you let the mind to be soothed by the wisdom teachings that we have heard and contemplated, when you meditate, it can soothe your mind and thoughts and feelings, and all your discursive thoughts drift away and they don't have any space in your mind because it's so vastly clear. And you are within, you are experiencing the result of the teachings that pointed you how to guard your serenity, your own purity of your own consciousness. So generally, Lamdre could be a general kind of a meaning of the entire path of the Buddha, whose purpose of teaching is to set sentient beings free of suffering. That's the result. On a temporal level, every session, everyday life, when you apply that, you could see some of your sorrows and stupid thoughts or feelings could be ended by your own choice. You can see the ending of those views and thoughts and perceptions are so deluded. And you just choose not to do them. But to do that, you've got to have the meditation, and that's what we were doing. So, but technically, Lamdre constitute very formal teachings that came from India to Tibet. From Mahasiddha Virupa, one of the 84 great adepts of Vajrayana Buddhism in India, 84 of them. Mahasiddha Virupa is only the third. He's really ranked very high out of the 81. If he's third, it's pretty high, really. And he transmitted the teaching based on Vajra Tantra. And the seminal work that he wrote on Lamdre is called the Vajra Sentences. That's nearly only 3 pages. So deeply coded, cryptic writing without commentary. You have no way of knowing how to understand it. Anyway, so Mahasiddha Virupa taught this to his sole disciple, and this has remained sole lineage, what's called one teacher to one disciple, one teacher like that up to Gayadhara, who came to Tibet and then gave to Dromil Lotsawa. So that system of teaching, that 3 generations after Dromil Lotsawa went to the Sakyapas. So it became the father teachings, we may call it, of the Sakyapas. So that's just a short introduction to Lamdre. Now going back to the actual Lamdre in Tharlam. The Lamdre in Tharlam monastery started on the 6th of October, which coincided the anniversary of Dakchin Lodro Gyaltsen, very auspicious date indeed. And there, His Holiness 41st Gongma Teaching Rinpoche, together with His Holiness his 42nd Ratnavaja Rinpoche, and his two children, Akshaya Vajra Rinpoche and Jitsuma Gunga Palter, as well as the two 26 and 27 Chogi teaching, and of course the chief host of this, His Eminent Deshung Rinpoche, along with the 70 over lamas, dulgus, khenpos, as well as many ordained monks, nuns, and lay householder practitioners. Together, 4,000 people minimum attended, between 4,000 to 6,000. Sometimes it went up very high. So during the first 3 days, 6th, 7th, and 8th of October, His Holiness Sakya Gongma Teaching gave 3 empowerments in the mornings. These are, firstly, he gave firstly he gave the Parnashawari empowerment. The purpose of that is Parnashawari empowerment is given traditionally from long way back in order to remove the danger of people catching diseases, being with so many people in such cramped place. And so that was given in the first morning. And then on the second day, His Holiness gave empowerment of Ushnisha Vijaya, that's a long life goddess, one of the 3 long life goddess empowerment, in order that people really stay healthy. And then in the third day, he gave the Vajrapani empowerment in order to remove all the obstacles. So these 3 empowerments were all given by His Holiness 41st himself. Of course, there were 3 of us translating into English and into Chinese and Nepalese simultaneously, so all the translation was simultaneous. It was very well set up. We were all in the main Gompa, as were the main monks and chief sponsors of the event. The rest of the monks, majority of the monks and nuns, were all out in the tent together with the crowd, as were all the English speakers and so on. The sizable number of Chinese speakers somehow managed to sit inside the main Gompa because they were wearing sashes and so on. I was told they were chief sponsors. So you get to sit in the Gompa if you're chief sponsors in Tibetan setups. Anyway, but the sound system and television system was so good. Wherever you sat, there was no danger of not seeing and hearing. So it was quite an incredible mega Dharma festival. They fed all the people, morning tea, afternoon tea, lunch, all free. 5,000 people every day. 100 monks just work like round the clock. That was all Tharlam monastery monks. So the setup and logistic was just incredible. And the generosity of people pouring their devotion in form of whatever they brought to the manager's office, just you could see the waves of Nepalese rupees, and so on. So there was no doubt it was an incredible, most perfect and dynamic Buddhist scene, that everybody was so treated with great kindness and generosity and beautiful surroundings. So as a result of giving these 3 empowerments, we heard few people taking dengue fever at the beginning, but it's all calmed down quickly. There was no death reported. Usually, big events like that, there are deaths, and there was no reported. So it went very, very smoothly. And so that was the first 3 days in the mornings. Then in the afternoon, remaining of the mornings, His Holiness 42nd then gave the lungs, which is the transmission of the reading of the Lamdre text. Then in the afternoon, he gave the teachings on the three perceptions. So that the three perceptions, the textbook they used was writing of Penchen Lama Choedak. Penchen Lama Choedak is the one of the abbot of Sakya, an important abbot. I don't know whether it's Sakya monastery or not. He was a very important abbot, and he compiled his Lamdre textbook. And this was also one I translated last year, and that was published, and the Tharlam monastery published that book. And freely distributed to everyone in Tibetan, Nepalese, and Chinese, and to everyone. So therefore, everybody had a textbook in the hand, plus listening. So there was really well resourced in terms of materials. Incredible generosity of all these incredible people supported the event. And the actual teachings on the three perceptions went on for 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and didn't finish until 5:30 sometimes. So went on about 3 hours each day, the teachings, with always a sumptuous tea and bread. In the afternoon tea, and also in the morning always Tibetan tea and bread. So there's a lot of bread and tea, and then after I will reserve that at the end. And so that went on for 10 days. 10 days. These elegant sayings of Penchen Lama Choedak's Lamdre text, the three vision, which I have translated. So they managed to publish that. I translated all 6 books into 1 volume. So Deshung Rinpoche, spoke to me a few times early last year, and really want them to be translated. So I put my time, and therefore over this year I had to miss many teaching sessions and particularly evening practices, because my time was completely taken up by that. But I was so glad that it was able to use for such a big occasion. And then in the mornings, His Holiness gave the transmissions, oral transmissions of the Lamdre collected works on the Lamdre, largely the volume 1 that consists of all the biography of Indian Mahasiddhas, Virupa, Krishnapa, Dhammarupa, Abhaduteva, Gayadhara. That's all put together, which is a Trakpa Gyaltsen, and then as well as Sachin's biography, as well as Jisung Rinpoche, Sonam Tsemo, Trakpa Gyaltsen, and as well as 4 or 5 biographies of Sakya Pandita. So all these readings were happening mostly in the mornings for good 2 hours. After the empowerment, sometimes 3 hours. Starts 8 o'clock, doesn't finish until 12. So went on. I was not really meant to required to translate all of that, but nevertheless, I kept the audience entertained by giving snippets of what's going on, whose biography it is, and translating here and there a little bit, because the oral transmission is so fast, like I don't know how many hours a kilometer, how fast it is, but at least people knew what volume, which biography of whom, and so on. So people receive all the biographies of Lamdre masters up to Ngorchen Kunga Zangpo, and then Amuchen Kuncho Gyaltsen as well. So there were other sort of Lamdre history written by Jamko Ameshap, and that was also oral transmission was given. So that's the first 10 days. Then in the evenings, about after 15 minutes break, that will be just about 5:30. Then there was a revision. A revision was given by Khenpo Chenyang. First, they tried to organize for me to give revision for the English speakers separately, but the venue and the logistics did not allow that. So then they decided to have me translate Khenpo Chenyang in the same setting for the Chinese and English speakers, Chinese and Nepalese speakers. So we did that for the first. We did that for the 3 perception level. There was no problem with that, but I found it rather demanding, translating 9 hours and then another 2 hours after that. It's so we finally got Ngawang Tenzin from IBA to assist doing the translation for the Khenpo in the afternoons. And then, so that's that. So the day usually ended about 7 o'clock. So 8 in the morning till 7. And then almost every night there's a dinner party. Invited all the high lamas to some of the 5-star hotels, and I didn't go most of the time. Most of them, I just didn't feel had any energy to go for a 3-hour dinner after 11-hour job. But I did go to a few of them because the relevant sponsors did insist that I came, but I didn't go to all of them. But it was a little too much for me. But for somehow the people who were sponsoring, and it was of course a very big occasion. Everybody was, you couldn't book, you couldn't get a time slot to take them out. It's all booked out. So it was very amazing. So that's the first 10 days. After that 10-day teaching on 3 perception. 3 perception really means the deluded sentient beings have impure perception, as we all most of the time have. Most of our day-to-day perceptions are marred by our desire, our jealousy, our doubts, our fears, our anxieties, our stupidity. These are deluded perceptions. So teaching really talk about why sentient beings have impure and deluded perceptions, why they are sentient beings, why they're not Buddhas, why they're not yogis. And if they don't want to do that, if they don't want to do sentient being, then they have to do yogi. So yogis have experiential perception. Yogis with the power of the samadhi, power of the meditation, if they chooses to, like we were trying to do then, half an hour. Even in half an hour, you could have a yogi. Power of your concentration can have an experiential perception that transcends your deluded perception, and you really know that it's everybody's reach not to do the deluded perception. It's just so wasteful. And so that's why people, when they meditate, they all have the opportunity to develop experiential perception through the power of their samadhi. And so that's the teaching. So during those first 8 days, really, so 9 days, really, it's all on that. These 2 perception, deluded perception and experiential perception. By the power of your concentration of calm abiding and special insight meditation, you may have common experiences of power of your samadhi, and then may even give you glimpses of what might be like if you pursue this further on with greater diligence. And you may even gain some glimpses of the uncommon experiences of exalted practitioners through Vajrayana practices. So this therefore entices the practitioner to develop further on how to develop yogic perception. by introducing the concept of Vajrayana empowerment and teachings help. And the last day's teaching on the 10th day is very much the possibility of having enlightened and have pure perceptions. It's not just pure perception of going to an enlightened realm and then see everybody pure, but even within the samsara, well, everybody sees deluded way, but we don't need to share those because we can switch on the different mode. We can switch off the deluded mode, and we switch on the yogis mode, and the yogis mode upgrades into the Sugata's mode, Tathagata's mode, and then they will have the pure perception of ornamental, an inexhaustible ornamental manifestation, holy body, speech, mind. So the third one is pure perception. The third one is pure perception is more like to inspire people to take up the Buddhist path, take refuge, develop bodhicitta, maybe even receive Vajrayana empowerment in order to experience these yogic perceptions. So then what happens is, His Holiness gives Bodhisattva vows. So now people are ready to take refuge and take Bodhisattva vows. Having been already taught for 10 days and given this empowerment to remove all the obstacles, so they're more than ready. So then there is a big day. That was on the 14th of the... It didn't quite happen on the full moon, the day before full moon. Usually they try to coincide a full moon for the Bodhisattva vow ceremony, but it happened the day before. So then... His Holiness Radha Vajra gave the Bodhisattva vows, again based on the writings of Benchen Lama Choedak, and it's called Nectar of Restful Mind, Nectar of Restful Mind, because if you take Bodhisattva vow, your mind becomes so rested. You've been so exhausted with selfishness, and then you give up selfishness and take up selflessness. Of course, you will be so restful by that Bodhisattva vow. So it's a very big ceremony in Bodhisattva vow, So, yeah, you wouldn't believe the number of chief sponsors each day, just like about 30, 40 people dressed, carrying up a whole... That's ostentatious offering rituals taken up during those Lamdre is quite sometimes distracting from the teachings. I can't really say that, but that's what it is. That's what it is. Because people really wanted to make offerings to as large as a number of Sangha, as high as His Holiness 41st can come. Everybody, when His Holiness 41st comes, everybody wanted to make offering on top of whatever. So like on that Bodhisattva day, oh gosh, that queue of the offering was just so long. Anyway, so people receive Bodhisattva vow, and then in the evening, afternoon, then after receiving Bodhisattva vows in the morning and the afternoon, then there is a acceptance of disciple ceremony. So now do you want to really follow Vajrayana path? So there's a short ceremony asking, please accept us as Vajrayana disciples. So that ceremony is quite short actually, and how to be ripened in the Vajrayana path, so that one can embark on the practice of Vajrayana in order to be ripened and liberated by empowerment. Again, the text was read by Lama Choedak, and so that happened on that very day. Then, from next day, for 3 days, His Holiness went on retreat, what called restoration retreat. So he has to do a restoration retreat of his own practice so that he can empower this, during which all the practitioners were meant to do Ngondro practices. There was no formal arrangement to do Ngondro practice for for any group, but we, the English speakers, we definitely need to do that. Otherwise, people wouldn't know where they're going to go. Some are total beginners. So we did the Ngondro practices. I led the groups, and so so we did 3 days of Ngondro while His Holiness went on the restoration retreat up at the retreat center, Chogi Teaching Rinpoche, up on the mountains. So he went there. Then on the 6th, 17th, so after His Holiness finished 3 days retreat, then from 20th to the 28th, that's really 9 days. Then His Holiness gave Hervajar cause empowerment. The Hervajar cause empowerment, when you have 5,000 people, 25 each would be taking more than a month. But then they have to decide how many is allowable. So they made 500 in each group and took 9 days for him to give those 2-day empowerments. So because only 500 people can go in one group and next 500 people come and that group finished. So His Holiness was doing so much. His Holiness gave that empowerment based on Ngachang Chugi Gyawa Kungarinchen's special pith instruction Hervajar cause empowerment text, which is slightly different, I notice. Maybe simpler version. For instance, it doesn't mention the different animals held in the hand to be different from each of the 5 Hervajras, so Akshobhya Hervajar, Radhasambhav Hervajar. It's a simpler version of it. But anyway, so that 9 days. So during those 9 days, people only had to attend 2 days. And so you have 1 week's break. It depends. So lots of people did various small trips around Kathmandu and did their own thing. But I didn't get to go anywhere. Not that I wanted, so I was quite contented staying in the compounds. I didn't go anywhere. Because all this, so many prayers and for the English speakers were missing or not complete or not correct one or whatever. So I don't know who did them in the first place. So then I had to sort of arrange quite a few people to help to translate, to phoneticize them. Anyway, so that's that. So after that 9 days of empowerment, of cause empowerment, then starting on the 29th of October, then His Holiness Ratnavajra started teaching on the triple continuum or triple tantra teachings. And then, of course, in the morning he gave the remaining oral transmission of the Lamdre biography, as well as the transmission of other Lamdre text, and also he taught on the commentary on the Vajrayana Samayas, and so on. That's part of the 6 books that are already translated. That usually intersperse into the afternoon teachings. So that went on for 29th and 30th, and then for 4 days, which is called the teachings on the 3 continuum or triple tantra. That mainly concerned with the teachings on the view of the non-differentiation of samsara and nirvana, good and bad, you and me. Every dualities are ascertained as a mere figment of our imagination. They are not there. Samsara, something to be discarded, and nirvana, something to be attained from their own side. There's all our own dualistic imputations. So the Lamdre teaching gives incredible, unpacks 37 analogies taught in four groups of each, 4 groups of 8 analogies, and then So that makes 32, and then out of the 32, they select 4 main ones from each group. That makes 36. After, then use one primary analogy that covers all the topics. What are the topics? That all things are just your mind only. So there are no things or objects that appears that other than your thought about it. So that to ascertaining all things are your mind. That's the first assertion. Second is, even though all things are your mind, they are nothing really object from its own side or anything from its side other than our thought about it. Our thoughts are illusion. So instead of thinking it's all in the thought, our thoughts are also illusion. So therefore, the teaching goes deeper that your thought are, because you can't find your thought. You can't find your thought in shape or form or color, so on. So the teaching goes deeper in not only rejecting the existence of phenomena out there, but even the thought about them is just as much harder to find. So they are illusion. So then, when the thought is established as illusion, it's not to avoid the danger of falling in nihilism. The illusions are interdependent, because no illusory performance, magic of pure performance exists without causes and conditions. So it's not a nihilism, it's due to dependent origination. So they use all that are illusion are dependently originated. That how this Lamdre teaching built up its argument how everything is empty, not just straight away saying everything is empty and then go like that, but saying everything is your mind is illusion is dependent origination, and what is dependent origination is inexpressible. Exactly coming to the conclusion of the perfection of wisdom, which says all things are unthinkable, inexpressible, so basically realizing the truth. So anyway, those 4 days are taught on the topic of cause, path, and result, simultaneously born dharmas of clarity, emptiness, and non-duality. On that topic, which is quite difficult for people who have not understood the teaching before. But nevertheless, His Holiness repeat 4 times. He teach 4 times. He teach one, and then he said, "Oh, I'm going to repeat the second time, just in case you didn't get it." And then he repeats twice, and he says, "Oh, I will repeat the third time, just in case you forgot it, so that you don't forget it." Then he thought that was the last. He said, "No, I'm going to repeat another time, just in case you will forget it." And then next day also he says, "Oh, before we start today's topic, let me repeat again yesterday's topic so that you don't forget." So Lamdre is consistent. So however distracted and deluded person you are, you could not deny saying, "I didn't hear it." So we call shiti. Shiti means 4-fold teachings. And even if you didn't hear anything, you just sit there, you receive blessings, That's what the whispered lineage is. You've got to hear the teacher reciting, and then feel his presence and feel everybody's devotion and whatever it is. You just sit there, and for me and my colleagues to translate at his speed is impossible. But because he was repeating 4 times, we manage. we make up for it. Plus that they have the book, Thank goodness they have the book from which he's teaching almost word for word. So there wasn't. He teaches one almost explanatorily without using the text, and then second, third, fourth, he reads everything. So people have actually text before them, translation and teachings and happening. I think everybody's transformed. You can see that. Just the whole ambience and whole incredible ceremony and the blessings and prayers in the morning. Afternoon teaching doesn't. We start at 2:00, but only hour and 3:20, then the teaching starts. Rest, all prayers. We've been chanting and chanting, praying to Mahasiddha Virupa and Goddess Usnishavaja Dharani, and all the other prayers, and prayer to Dragpa Gyaltsen and all the lineage gurus. That whole chanting where people sit there, I think get really blessed on many levels. You can see the people can join fanatically if they want, but they just sit there, and most people are they are all in meditation. So I think people get blessed on many different levels attending Lamdre in that nature. Then on the 2nd of November, because there were so many long life pujas, trying to sort of get in the long life puja by different organization, you wouldn't believe how long life pujas are long-winded. Because you have to make someone live long, you got to do long pujas. And as many as ceremonies and all these offerings and long queues, longer and longer goes on. They start 8 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 6 in the morning. Yeah, we start 6 in the morning. 6 in the morning, they don't like, not the main crowd, lay people, but you wouldn't believe how many local people just attending there, just for the sake of just being there. It's all so good. So main crowd comes at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, but Long Life Puja crew, which is mainly all the monks and nuns and practitioners, nearly 1,500 or 2,000 at least, they're there from 6 a.m. in the morning. And so they prepare the Long Life Puja from 6 till 8 or 9. And then the teaching starts, and then that goes on 4 or 5 days, and then on the final day, then His Holiness 41st is invited in a big ceremony, big procession, as if he arrived from Nirvana today, and he's receiving a great procession, as fittingly so. And all televised. I'm sure you would have seen some of them. If you haven't, just go and watch Bodhi television. The first 10 days it's all online, First 10 days teachings and empowerments are all given online. You all could have just attended from wherever you were. I didn't realize that was happening until I was there.
What translation is it? Is it in English?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what was televised, but there were English as well as Nepalese as well as Chinese. So I don't know.
Your voice is on there.
There, yeah. Okay. So the first 10 days was completely televised everywhere. The others were not televised, but they still captured the celebrations. So anyway, from the 2nd of November, then His Holiness gave what I was just saying. His Holiness gave the White Thara empowerment, because the people have to do the White Thara to participate in the long life pujas. They have to do long life. So White Thara was the main theme of every day, because the sadhana and rituals every day. So he gave the empowerment, and that's an additional request. He gave the empowerment of that, and then he started in the afternoon the teachings on the vast empowerment. So then the rest of the teachings are on the three tantras divided into vast continuum, outer generation, inner generation. That's vast empowerment. Then the secret empowerment, transcendental wisdom, fourth. The teachings are all separated like that because of the different levels of the practice. So anyway, so that's 2nd of November, and he gave from the 3rd of November till the 6th, he gave all the teachings of the outer generation teaching. So that's now coming to the deity yoga itself. Deity yoga itself, generating yourself as Shrihevajra and so on. And then on the 7th of November, then His Holiness Sakyakongma teaching was requested by somebody, I didn't know who by, to give empowerment of, combined empowerment blessings of Sakya Pandita Manjushri. So in the morning, His Holiness Sakyakongma teaching came and gave that, as well as a Powa transmission, because there were so many people from the villages and so many elderlies who know their death is next door, and they might as get transmission from His Holiness before they die. And there were a couple of hundred Tibetans from Sichuan and eastern part of China. They all came because they can travel to Nepal very easily. So they couldn't believe their fortune. They were incredible. Straight from Tibet, they were receiving this empowerment. So I think that was an additional program. Squeeze in on the 7th of November in the morning. So then from the 7th till the 9th of November, His Holiness gave the teachings on the inner generation state, because to do that, he gave, path empowerment. Now this is path empowerment. This when you have the cause empowerment over 9 days. Now the path empowerment, they couldn't fit to do 500 people. It will take too long. Now that's 9 days. So they decided to squeeze 1,000 in one go. So they did it. What traditionally used to be given to 25 people was given to 1,000 people. So 9th, 7th, 8th, and 9th November, they did the path empowerment, and people only had to attend one session, but the thing took 3 days. So again, people have another 2 days free. So lots of people had time to go around and do various things. And then this was so as to allow people to get permitted to receive teachings on the inner generation stage. So those of you who have received Hevaja cause and path empowerment, you know the path empowerment allow you to do the sadhana with the body mandala, and those who haven't received the path empowerment cannot do the one with body mandala. So anyway, and then the 3 days, 10th, 11th, and 12th of November, the teaching was all on inner generation stage, how one does the body mandala practices, and then this was followed for 3 days on the 13th, 14th, 15th November, teachings on the seeker empowerment. Now, this seeker empowerment consists of 7 breathing techniques plus 18 tumo fierce fire meditation to ignite fire and open your channel. So that went on for 3 days. 3 days teachings on that, and then I think they tried to show. To do some one yantra yoga 1 or 2 evenings. I didn't attend those because I needed to really rest, and also the setup wasn't really right to be able to. Everybody was watching like this, the single Lama performing. And the television crew couldn't show him, and we were right in the back sitting, and I can't see what he was doing. So translation was pretty unsatisfactory, I can imagine. I haven't heard any complaint, but and so that by those days in the evenings I was so exhausted. I let Ngawang Tenzin to translate a few sessions, and then later on we realized the Kempo Chenyang's revision, he wasn't really doing the actual sadhana at all, and he was giving beautiful teachings. There was no doubt about that, with a lot of stories and beautiful teachings. But he wasn't really leading the sadhanas. both during outer generation stage. So I decided that to be better to do justice to the English speakers, we will do separate revision sessions. So we got a new hall upstairs. So we did our sadhana and revision there. So at least people then had time to do the sadhana. Otherwise, the Khenpo wasn't doing the sadhana at all. He was giving beautiful teachings, but the actual thing wasn't happening. So, but towards the end, then he was doing. For the last 2 days, I heard he did the sadhanas. Maybe he heard the report that we left. Anyway, so the 13th, 14th, 15th was seeker empowerment, and then the 16th was transcendental wisdom empowerment. So, and then again, His Holiness Sakyakoma teaching came one morning. That's the 16th morning. Another surprise. He gave the Vajrasattva empowerment blessings, and he gave Mahakala empowerment, because people were requesting, and they meant to do, and I said, go and request His Holiness. Anyway, someone did it. Someone did the request, and he gave Mahakala empowerment. So those are additional ones. So things like that happens every now and then. And then on the 23rd of November, then His Holiness Radha Vajra Rinpoche gave Vajrayogini blessings. So that took a couple of days, you know. Yeah, to 20. Yeah. 25th to 26th, 27 took the Vajrayogini blessings. He gave Vajrayogini blessings to everyone. Traditionally, they used to give Vajranera empowerment, but this time they gave Vajrayogini, but the common Vajrayogini without the Bodhi Mandala. 25th to 26th, 27. And then on the 29th of November, gave the Virupa protection blessings, and a Guru Yoga. So on 29th, they actually finished Lamdre, and His Holiness, they did a special Mahakala Puja with a big tok offering, so that really went long. His Holiness was surprised how it went longer than he scheduled it, because there was some kind of a communication breakdown between the chant leader and that chant leader was enjoying, you know, leading Mahakala Puja and leading all the 5,000 people is under his arm. So he was styling himself, chanting, doing Ngorpa Kangso. I enjoyed it, but the time wasn't on everybody's hand, and we had a book launch scheduled at 5:30, but it didn't happen even at 7:30. And then it was pushed back until 8 o'clock, because by the time we finished on Mahakala Puja and Sok, His Holiness had to have dinner, and all of the people that we have invited, nearly 300 people for the book launch, they didn't have dinner. We had specially organized dinner, and kitchen staff and everybody was waiting, all cooked very meal. But meal meant to be eaten by 7 o'clock, but 8 o'clock, no sign. Anyway, so the book launch was late. So my Hevajra book finally got published. Can you believe it? It was in the pipeline for how many years? 29 years from the day I started. So that consists of my what was intended as my PhD thesis, and then followed by Tsarchen's commentary, The Rays of the Sun, and then Morchen Konjol Hundrup's Hevaja Sadhana, new translation, beautiful ornament liberate, and then a drop of nectar together with His Holiness Sakyakoma's teaching on the 32 Semzen meditation, all in one volume. So it's nearly 800 pages. The guy in Nepal the printing guy was really helpful. He was very, very professional, and only time I took was to go and visit to him when when I had time, free time. I went to visit a few times in his office, but he finally managed it. We got very beautiful people to help with design of cover and organizing the promotion, and finally the book got published. We got to offer nearly 115 copies. We had to offer it freely to the very important people. The rest were all just went out there without a trace. So now we're thinking of ordering second edition. But first we were going to sell online, but no, people were all there. So why we sell online when everybody's there? And so His Holiness Kongma Chinzin and his wife and 2 children, they all attended and they Bodhi television televised it, so you can all watch it, the whole thing. So the Lamdre was incredible. There were like 4,000 people minimum, sometimes 5. Out of that, about 1,500 were all foreigners, and maybe English speaker was maybe good 400 to 500 people, and a very strong Nepalese contingent. And that's lots of mainland Chinese, you wouldn't believe. Incredible, because they can travel to Nepal even without a visa. They're all welcome to come anytime. No wonder why that many can come. So the Nepal became really completely. The Bodhnath has become a city in itself. Previously was one of the suburbs outside Kathmandu. Now it is. There's no need to go to city because everything is in Bodhnath. So it has become. They did quite a lot of prayers and offerings at the stupa. One day, say Sakya Sachen Kunga Nyingbo's anniversary, they did a big prayer offering, and so Lamdre in Tharlam is probably one of the most historic Lamdre so far. Not that others are not, in terms of size and the place and location and number of people and presence of both of their holinesses, and the number of sanghas that were able to attend there. Because it coincided the 80th birthday of His Holiness Kongma Chichen, so many long life puja offerings. And people making offerings to the ordained sanghas, you wouldn't believe. The Nepalese 1,000 rupees is just like throwing like a $5 here. It's worth a bit more than about $15, but they just throw it like that. Everybody giving 1,000 rupees like that to everyone, like that. And then I was told by one of the monks, they said each ordinary monk received 85,000 rupees through that period. That just imagine, there were 1,500 monks. And these are ordinary people, some wealthy perhaps, others are just sheer devotion. This doesn't include the lunch. This doesn't include the teas, bread, all the other gifts that the Buddhist people are offering is incredible. So Nepal, while one of the poorest countries, when you look at that, this could not be more Buddhist event than anywhere else. Everything was all offering, giving, donations. So that, and of course, this is a meritorious thing to do for all the lay devotees. Their sweat and tear, if they can offer for the Dharma activities, of course, it's a lifelong dream. That's the dream. We'd call dream home in Australia, own a home or something. For them, it's a dream to be able to sponsor a lunch or give a whatever. 10 rupees, $10 to every Sangha member and give a lunch to everyone and go queue up and offer mandala to His Holiness. It's their dream. So you can see that people from Mustang coming hundreds of miles on these days, not on foot, but maybe by jeeps, and they all come around, descending in Kathmandu to make the offerings. Like the Mustang community offer incredible. They made 5-day long life puja, and they made incredible offerings, Yeah, so sometimes the monk who's reading the list of offering, he doesn't know how to count the zeros. There's so many zeros, so so he correct himself. Anyway, so today's talk is mainly really telling you, sharing with you what is contents in this booklet. And if we have one gentleman from Peru or Colombia, I forgot, Pablo, he can transcribe everything what I've said, and then on the basis that I can polish it to translate this so that people who receive the Lamdre will get this translation of this booklet in the end. That was the main idea. And also to share those of you who have not attended Lamdre this time, but have attended previously, or wish to attend in the future. It's incredible. I've been approached by many people saying how they never knew. First, they thought they were going to stay first 10 days. That's it. Then they changed the whole mind. They stayed 2 months. They realized how comprehensive, how complete, how rich a culture, history, tradition, that not to mention the actual teachings, transmissions, what the whole setup was. I think it totally changes people. So I was able to be there with everyone, and so it was a great blessing, because here, while our construction works are happening, I wasn't quite sure whether I could go, but according to Lance, there was no problem. So of course he was doing all the heavy lifting, and some of you you would have visited the site, building site, how much work is going on, and we have been able to order most of the important things we need inside the temple and outside the decorations. So we have a lot of work to do next 12 months. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here and being there. And we will dedicate the merits of this session as usual. Om Bade Mere Mevaga Dade Fame Zage Homneze Meile Bere Dobe from the Ocean of Bade Seneze Erenda Mahayana Jije Whatever Mereda Hevagra Meo Bebegas de Lavas Tehoda Mahayana Jije Courage Manju Genuode Azama Tabadra de Lava follow her all the example Aja de Dege o de Mer de Excelem Bode Jida Teba Erena Yedanza where has been Bomeding freely the generation. Thank you, everyone.